Hello, so I'm just giving a review on the trip that I went on with Swastika, and so yeah, I had a really good trip. I was expecting to go with a group, and I didn't go with a group. I went on my own. So I went through Tour Raider, and from there I was led to believe that it was meant to be a group tour, and there was a maximum of 30 people that were able to go on that tour. So when I then went, when I then got picked up from my hotel to start the tour, I wasn't expected to be just on my own with my own private driver and my own tour guide. Now, people would say that's amazing. You having your own tour, your own tour guide, your own space and stuff. But part of the reason why I wanted to do it was because I didn't want to. I wanted to do it with other people, so that wasn't explained very much to me. So that was one of the one of the first kind of nuggets that kind of really got to me, really. Another one of the points was that I felt like I was being taken into different kind of restaurants that probably were more expensive, I believe, than I needed to have been taken into, and that kind of upset me a little bit because I kind of felt like I was being kind of potentially taken advantage of. It may not have been the case, but again, I was a bit hesitant, really, and to be left on my own when I was in the restaurant, that really so because the tour guides they didn't eat with me, so I was always eating on my own. So that's just something to consider, because really, if you feel lonely and you want to be with people, then really the whole point. Well, the point for me was that I wanted to be with others. I wanted to experience. I've done two different Kentucky trips before. I did a European trip where I covered. Started off. We started in London and we went to Amsterdam, and we did Amsterdam. We did the Rhine Valley. We did Munich. We did Innsbruck in Austria. We did Venice. We did lots of different places. I mean, you can look into it anywhere. I'm not going to bore you with the details. And then I did a Cambodia and Laos trip. Now, both of those trips, it was very much quite a social thing. And so that's what I was hoping for with this. But it wasn't necessarily the same kind of. It wasn't necessarily that wasn't necessarily the case. So anyway, I mean, I kind of just trying to move on and just try and make the best of it. And the reviews were really good, you know what I mean? So, really, I thought, well, I can't really kind of complain, really. So, I can't really complain, if everybody else is saying it's really, really good, maybe I'm just a moaner. But it's difficult when you thought. So anyway, moving on from that, that was one of the things. Now, a problem that I did have was that the tour guys, they like to take you into different shops and stuff. Now, this really annoys me because they get you into a situation where they're like, oh, why don't you want to buy it? Not the tour guides, but they take you to the shop owners, and then they want to sell you stuff, and then if you don't want to buy stuff, they're like, oh, we can sell something cheaper, and it just goes around and around in a circle. And really, I didn't want it. I don't earn that much. It was trying to be a cheap, affordable holiday. Trip. I'm doing a 4-month trip. I didn't want it to be really, really expensive. So that was another thing that kind of upset me and disappointed me. I mean, I struggled with kind of. I had in one of my other videos. I had Delhi belly. Well, I'm still kind of suffering now, but I've had issues with something that I'd eaten. That's nothing to do with the trip. I just that was a little bit of a setback on the trip. But they were two things just to consider: the fact that whether you're happy to do it on your own, to potentially do it on your own, and also just to be aware, not that you're going to have this anyway with any tour guides, that you will probably be taken into these kind of shops and stuff, and don't be pressured into buying goods. You shouldn't have to buy something if you don't want to buy. If it's something that you want, then great. problem is that usually you go into these shops, you don't want anything, and you actually walk out with things that you didn't need or you didn't want. You know what I mean? It's like when you go shopping in the supermarket, you go in, you got a list, or you don't have a list, and you think, oh, I'm just going to get some porridge, or I'm just going to get some bananas, and then you just get, you actually don't get what you went in for. You just get other stuff. So, so yeah, just be aware of that. So yeah, I mean, we started off the trip. The trip started off in Delhi, and I was already staying in Delhi, so the driver picked me up, and we went from Delhi. I actually went to another hotel in Delhi actually, and then the next day we did the old Delhi. We did the old Delhi, and we did some of the new Delhi as well. So we did the Gandhi tomb, and I mean it's all in my videos. So if you're interested, you can watch some of the videos that I've done. But we did old Delhi and new Delhi, and then we went to Agra, and we drove from Delhi to Agra. That took 4.5 hours. Again, I think these times I wasn't really sure about. I didn't really know about them. I mean, that's down to me, but it's something that I wasn't necessarily kind of so much aware about. So just so you're aware, 4.5 hours, between 4.5 and 5 hours, I would expect to be travelling from Delhi to Agra. Yeah, that it can be kind of, make sure you've kind of got something to do, really. Unless you're just happy to just sit there, then that's great. But for me, it just is quite a long time, really. It's kind of quite uncomfortable, especially with my taxi driver. We just tour driver. We just kept on kind of driving most of the way through. We stopped for lunch, but that was it. So we stopped for like half an hour, but really we were in the car the whole time, which I'm quite jumpy, so I like to be kind of up and about. So when we got to Agra, we went to the Taj Mahal, and we also saw the outside of the Agra fort. I said I didn't want to see, and that he was going to take me to somewhere where they sell different, teas and all this kind of stuff, and I just said, I'm alright, I'm okay. So yeah, sorry, I didn't do that in the end. And then we went from Agra. We went to I can't pronounce the name. It's just outside of Agra, and it's where one of the kings, he created three different buildings for his wives, depending on what they did for him, depending on kind of how big the palace was. So the wife that gave him a son, she had like the biggest palace, whereas others didn't have so big because they didn't please him so well. Seems like a lovely man. So I'm sure he's nice. I'm sure he was nice. It's easy to kind of say, stereotype, isn't it? But yeah, I'm sure he was a nice guy. So after we did that, we drove from we drove the rest of the way. So we only stayed there for about an hour and a half. We got a bus so we wouldn't actually be able to go into this king's kind of. It was kind of just like another site. We weren't actually able to go in there, so we had to get a bus, and that was 10 rupees there, 10 rupees back. So obviously that wasn't expensive, and it's free to go in as well. There was a paid section, but the tour guide said to me, really, you don't need to pay for the. You don't need to pay really to go in. You can see most of the stuff without having to go in. So I was like, fair enough, that's fine. So we were there for about an hour and a half, and then we got back in the car, and we drove from basically 40 kilometres outside of Agra. This is basically right next to the site, and we drove straight to Jaipur. Now, because I wasn't very well, because on that morning I think I must have started to get this Delhi belly. I don't know if it was the hotel. I don't know, because I started to feel not very well after I had breakfast at the hotel. So I don't know, you know. But anyway, and that was 6 hours from just outside, the site to Jaipur. Now, it wouldn't have probably been as bad, but because I was so ill, that it was worse. But this is just another thing to consider. So it was again, it's quite a long journey, so there's a lot of travelling. The tour didn't necessarily specify how long, didn't necessarily specify that there'd be so much travelling involved. So that was something that kind of did annoy me. Do you know what I mean? It was like, well, how much are we actually staying in these places? Or how much are we actually travelling? Because we're travelling 6 hours to get there, and we're staying there for like one night. Do you know what I mean? Not seeing very much of it. Like we drive to Jaipur, and then we got there at like 4 o'clock, and then we had the rest of the day, just the rest of the day just to chill out. And then the next day we had a full day, fair enough. And then we got back the next day. It's just like, if I was to have planned it, I mean, I probably would not have done it. I probably would not do the tour. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm already kind of concluding, and I haven't completed it. So maybe I'll just, carry on with it. So yeah, so what we did is we did on the day that we did Jaipur, I wasn't feeling that great, but what the itinerary was that we would go to the City Palace, which I did do. The City Palace. It was very good. It's to do everything, which I was recommended to do. It was 3,500 rupees, which I was shocked by. Cost about $50, so about £38 at this current exchange rate. That was a lot, but I mean, I was told that I wouldn't see Jaipur unless I was to go. Unless I was to see that, I might as well. Why was I? Why was I really there otherwise? That's what I'm saying, not what they said. So I did that. I didn't do any of the rest of the stuff, but there was other stuff that you could do. That you could do. You could go to the Amber Fort. I didn't do that. I think that was 500 rupees to do. I think that looked really good, actually. I wish I would have, in some respect, done that. And actually, as I've got a video, I'll put it in the description. And they had like elephant rides, like going up, like they were just like circling round and going up. It was quite impressive, actually, and it was amazing. It looked really, really nice. So there was that, and there was also an observatory. That was 200 rupees to do. Another thing that I didn't do because I just felt so awful. I just wanted to do the City Palace and just see that and then go. So that was another thing. And you could also do an elephant ride, and that lasts 25 to 30 minutes, and that includes kind of you ride the elephant. But like any extra things like feeding them and washing them and all that kind of stuff costs extra. Now, I wasn't really sure about whether I was thinking I was going to do that anyway. The reason for that is because when I've looked it up, it's been kind of considered to be very. It's considered that they're very, very poorly treated animals. They're not very well looked after, and they're kind of they're kind of a victim to kind of human abuse in some respects, and there are only a few associations that kind of are aware of this and try and kind of look after the elephants and put them first. I was looking up because I'm going to Bangkok next. I was looking up about that, and there are kind of schemes that you can do. Do you know what I mean? That you don't get to ride them, and this is the thing. The reason why there's such a problem is because if you imagine that they have a seat on them, and that weighs 50 kilograms, say, and then you weigh at least 50 kilograms. Then the amount that they'll be able to carry maybe is 100 kilograms. So they're already over that limit, trying to kind of carry you, as well as the things like being able to like kind of draw the paint and do all of these neat tricks. they've been the only reason why they're able to do all of these things is because they've kind of been manipulated into doing them. It's not. It didn't come naturally to them. It was kind of forced upon them by their owners. So I was a bit like, you know what I mean. I don't know if I really want to be part of that. I mean, that's each to your own. I mean, that's something else to consider. And then that was really the last day. And then the next morning. So usually each day started about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you get like a kind of a full day. So that's good. It depends if you want a whistle stop, then that's great. But for me, I think, personally for me, so I'm just concluding now. For me, I probably would have wanted to spend longer in certain places, because what you do is, because you go so quickly, you miss things. So you don't get to spend enough time. There's more things in Agra. Obviously, the Taj Mahal is the main thing, so I didn't want to rush that. I wanted to see as much of. I wanted to see the Taj Mahal because, well, when am I going to see that again? Probably never. So definitely wanted to see that one, and it was amazing. It was definitely worth seeing. But there are other things in Agra, as well as there are more things in Jaipur. And also there's like a safari. You can do like a nighttime safari, I think. I believe. I might be wrong. So there's different things that you can do. And I can't really just really touch the surface. Obviously you could spend a long time in places, but just wanted to see that kind of a bit more of the things. That would have been good. In Delhi, I wouldn't really recommend staying more than a day or two, really. So yeah, just to give my verdict on the trip. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought that I've learned a lot, and I've gained some kind of. I've gained I've gained knowledge and understanding and appreciation for kind of Indian heritage. At the same time, I did feel like some of the tour guides weren't. I think most of them, I feel like the tour guides some of them were better than others. Yeah, a lot better than others, and sometimes I actually struggled to understand what they were saying. I think that was one of the things. It was so frustrating, to be able to try and think, am I going to be able to, how am I going to be able to say? I don't want to keep saying no, I don't understand you, because it frustrates them as much as it frustrates me. It frustrates them because, and they're frustrated because they want to be able to communicate with me. It's difficult. I mean, I can't even speak Hindu. I only can say namaste. Me and Damien here. You know what I mean? My name is hello. My name is Damien. But they know a lot more than me. But especially with the last tour guide that I had, there was a struggle. It was a struggle for me to try and pick up on what he was saying. Especially if he was talking quite quickly. So, yeah. So basically that's just kind of the verdict, really. I probably wouldn't do it again. I probably would do it on my own. I didn't know that in hindsight, if I'd be able to cope and manage on my own. But learning a lot about the fact that you can get Ubers everywhere. Ubers are very good, especially apparently not so good in Goa, but they're very good in like Delhi and Jaipur, and I think India. I mean, in the US, I think it's quite popular, but actually in the US it is, but in the UK it's not such a big thing. In some places it is, but tipping is not considered that widely done. It's not a wide. It's not done all over so much. Whereas there's a 10-15% that's usually expected when you kind of dine or you do any kind of activity. So that's what you'll kind of get used to, really. So I mean, if you're doing it with somebody else, it's great, but I would kind of consider what I've kind of said, and just kind of keep it in kind of in your as a thought, really. And just to kind of take back the fact that kind of a little whistle stops and not seeing everything, will that kind of satisfy you? Are you happy to accept that you might be on your own, or might be on your own with your partner? It's not really probably necessarily like a TU, which or another one of like the other like G Adventures or something like that. That's another thing to consider. Um, well, I mean, I was going to say, are you happy to stay in nice hotels? I'm sure you are. I mean, they were lovely, especially the last hotel was very nice. Um, I think one thing to really just consider is that people are going to try and take advantage of you. They have tried to take advantage of me because I'm quite gullible, telling you that they don't earn very much money, this, that, and the other, which maybe they don't, but then you can't help everybody, and when tips are asked for, they should be able to be volunteered, not forced upon. You know what I mean? So that's just something to consider. Be happy and be comfortable with the tip that you give. Don't be pressured into it. So yeah, I'm just giving you a little bit of a bit of a feedback on my trip. Hopefully it helps somebody. And I've just rambled on about nonsense. And yeah, if there's any questions, please send me a message and let me know. Okay.